Hi, everybody. It's Professor Halpert here. I hope you're doing well. It is cold and snowy outside, and I am going to pre record certain portions of this upcoming session for you. I'm going to do it in sort of three different chunks. I think that's going to be the easiest for me. Um, the first chunk of what I'd like to do with you guys is to talk a little bit about well, this is the overview. This is where we're going in the three chunks. I want to talk about conferring, which is our last instructional method. I want to make sure we touch upon emergent bilinguals, and I want to talk about classroom libraries. But the very first thing that I do want to talk about is I want to give you all some examples of lessons that are what I'm looking for in your reading strategies assignments. So, the architecture of a mini lesson, as you all are very well aware, you're aware of it because you've seen many videos now that have purposefully um, asked you to complete a video observation guide that looks very carefully at these elements. The elements are a connection, a teaching point, active engagement, and a link. So let me sort of show you. Let me just show you how this might play out. This is going to be for a younger kiddo, okay? And the teaching point here, the objective of this lesson is that good readers, they read quietly. So the first thing I'm going to do in my lesson is I'm going to make a connection. So my friends, we have all learned that we are all readers, and readers practice reading books so that they can get better and better at reading. They practice reading books so that they can learn things. They can learn new things, and they practice reading in books so that they can enjoy stories. I'm going to move into my teaching points. So let's think, my friends, about some of the places where you might see someone read. And one of those special places might be in the library. At the library, we know that there's a rule that everyone needs to be very quiet so that other people in the library, they can concentrate and they can relax and they can enjoy their stories. It's also really important that we're quiet in our classroom so that our friends can concentrate on what they're reading, and so that the teacher can work with other kids in the room. So I'm going to help teach you a way to remember to read quietly so that your friends can concentrate and enjoy the books that they're reading, and so that I can work with readers in the classroom. So I'm going to show you a picture of a bubble. Oh my gosh. Looks like fun, doesn't it? That's a huge picture of a bubble. And I want you to try to imagine what it's like inside that. Do you think it's noisy inside that bubble, or do you think it might be really, really quiet inside that bubble? Oh, I think it's going to be noisy. I think it's going to be, I'm not, I think it's going to be quiet inside that bubble, right? It's going to be quiet. Yeah. If it was noisy, what do you think might happen? If it was noisy, I bet that bubble would pop. Well, when you're reading today, my friends, what I want you to do is I want you to pretend that you're inside a really quiet bubble. It's a quiet reading bubble, and you don't want that bubble to pop. Can everybody show me with their arms, please? Can you very slowly pretend that you're in a quiet reading bubble? What do your arms look like? Okay, so that's my active engagement for my little ones. And then I'm wrapping it up with my link. So remember, my friends, when you are reading today, I want you to pretend that you are inside a quiet reading bubble, and that the best way to concentrate and the best way to make sure all of our friends are able to concentrate and to relax and to enjoy their books, the best way is to be reading inside your quiet reading bubbles. Okay, so that might be an example of a lesson for a little guy or gal. Okay, but we know that for our reading strategies assignment, we have slightly older kids. And so what I want to do is I want to show you another lesson. Okay, this is another example. The objective here is that readers use their voices to show how their characters are feeling. Okay, and this is how this might play out. First, I'm going to build that connection with students. I'm going to remind them of what the work that we've done in Writer's Workshop. So I might say something like this. So in Writer's Workshop, we have been learning about how characters come to life. And what's a way that we can make our characters come to life? Yes, that's right. You remembered that we describe how our characters are thinking and how they are feeling. And we use action words and descriptive words to describe how they're thinking and how they're feeling. We've done that as writers. Well, today we're going to be readers. And we also want to make our characters come to life. We want to identify how our character might be feeling. And then what we want to do is we want to use our voice to show that feeling as readers. I'm moving into my teaching point, okay? So today I'm going to teach you that good readers think about how a character might be feeling. And then what they do is they read the dialogue in their text to match the character's feeling. So let me show you what I mean. So I might take out an excerpt of my book. And for this particular lesson plan, I've used Mummies in the Morning, which is one of the books in the Magic Treehouse series. And I might read a couple of pages in a very staccato, robotic-like voice, okay? And then I'd say, hey, students, right? Hey, kiddos, what did I sound like when I read that dialogue, right? And they're going to say, oh my gosh, you sounded like a robot. Well, we know that our characters are not robots, right, guys? We need to make them come to life by using our voice to show their feelings. And in order to do this, we have to follow these steps. And what I would do is I would outline with my class the series of steps that I want them to take. So the first step might be to think about what's happening in the story. The second step might be to imagine how those characters are feeling. And then the third step would be to match your voice to the dialogue. Now that we've figured out how that character is feeling from what's happening in the story. So here's how the active engagement might go. Okay, guys, so I'm going to read that same passage again of Mummies in the Morning aloud. And we're going to use those steps that I just outlined with you to make our character Jack come to life on the page. So then I read with expression those pages, the same pages that I just read in the robotic voice. So can you now, guys, can you turn and talk to your partner about how our character might be feeling based upon what just happened in the story? So remember, if you need to, you can look up at our feelings chart. We've written a whole bunch of words that are hanging right over there in the morning message, in the morning meeting section of our room, right, as a visual reminder for those who might need it. So imagine you are Jack. How are you feeling? Does anybody want to share out how Jack might be feeling and how he might be feeling based upon what's happened in the story that's giving you that clue? Yeah. Lots of hands going up, right? Okay, right. So we think that Jack might be a little bit worried because he's heard that strange voice and he doesn't know where it's coming from. And we know that he's been tiptoeing and hiding behind a bush, which also means that maybe he's a little bit scared or nervous. So now that we know how he's feeling, what do we think his voice is going to sound like when he says the words hello and anybody there? Oh, yeah, right. It might sound a little shaky. Or maybe it might sound a little bit slow. Okay, so let's read that dialogue again. And let's read it with a slow and a shaky voice to show that Jack's really concerned and he's really worried. And then we might do it, right? We might do it together. Hello, anybody there? Or we might invite somebody to do it in front of the class for us. That was amazing. Thumbs up if you felt like Jack's emotion was really coming through in that voice. Okay, so that would be that active engagement part. And then our link is really going to be sort of that the clarification of that teaching point. So today, everybody, when you are reading, I want you to think about what's happening in the story so that you can decide how that character is feeling. And once you have all those clues about what's happening in the story, and you've made your decision about how that character is feeling, then you can use what the character is saying to give you more clues about how he's feeling. We can use that dialogue to make our voice match how that character might be feeling. And so that's what it would look like for you guys. All right. This is sort of the level of thought and the level of dialogue um, and the level of presentation that I am looking for in these reading strategy assignments. I'm going to stop here for this first portion of the class. And then I will create a second video for a discussion about conferencing and emergent bilinguals. Okay, thanks guys.